Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are here. It is Friday. It's Prediction Friday. Let's go. What's up, everybody in the chat? Brendan, Debbie, Nia Perez, Devin. What's up? We got a special show. I'm going to drop an intro, but before we do, we got CMAC in the house. What's up?
Man, you know, it's primetime weekend. We had to go live.
You know what it is. We'll be right back. Yo, what's up? What's up, everybody? We got people dropping in the building. Real quick, before we say anything or go into anything, I just got this package from UPS. I guess they've been trying to send it to me all week. It's from Gold Bar Whiskey. I don't know what it is, but let's see what we got.
It's like Christmas.
Yeah,
it's not
like
a pipe bomb or anything, is it?
I don't know. We'll see what it is. This is crazy. Let's open this before we start. Oh, man.
PlayStation 5.
That would be dope. Some Gold Bar Whiskey. I'm guessing it's some whiskey, baby. I don't know.
It's in the name.
Oh, yeah, baby. We've been lit today or soon. Look at that. We got some Gold Bar Whiskey. Yo, shout out to Gold Bar.
That's high end. Look at that packaging.
That packaging is crispy. Oh, it's got the catch on it. Look at that. Ooh. It says the original Gold Bar Premium Blend. Whiskey, baby. So if we win a Super Bowl, we're drinking this.
That's when you pop it open.
That's when we pop it open.
Hopefully shout out to the boys 5 years down the road.
Yeah. Shout out to the boys at Gold Bar Whiskey for hooking it up. Yeah, I got to give them another special shout out. During the preseason, they hooked me up with some free tickets, club level seats. Bro, that was like the best thing ever. I was at the game, and you go to the club level, and all the food is just it's free. I was sitting there eating everything. I was like, oh my God, this was an amazing experience. But moving forward, it is game day weekend. It's Prediction Friday. You know the vibes. We got a big game on Sunday against the Denver Broncos, Sunday Night Football. And you know what? George Kittle is back. You know what he did last time against the Broncos? He dog walked them, but don't take my word from it. Gem. What's up, C-Mac? How you feeling about George Kittle back?
I feel great in the aspect of the run game and run blocking. The offensive line has been surprisingly good, especially last week. You had Kittle with Juszczyk, and then the offensive line has been blocking pretty well. I mean, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. The O-line looked really good last week. They got to keep it up. Yeah. This is a test against Denver, who has a great defensive line. Bradley Chubb. DJ Jones, revenge game. DJ Jones. Did you hear what DJ Jones said today? Let me put this quote up. He goes, simply put, oh, there he goes. He says, simply put, I'm going to go crazy. I love that organization. But everybody, when you play your former team, it goes down. DJ Jones will come into this game and show, yo, I'm a big time player and I love you guys, but maybe you should have kept me. DJ Jones is ready to play. And you know who else is good on the other team, on the Denver Broncos? Former Niner, your guy.
My guy, K1.
K1 Woods. How you feeling about this matchup playing against two former big-time Niner defensive players?
Well, good for them, for one, for getting the bag, especially DJ Jones. He was well-deserving. Sucked that we had to let him go. I'm glad he got paid, though, and he went to an organization that, you know, means something and has some class. So, yeah, but it's definitely going to – they're definitely hungry. They're definitely going to come in there and – try to show the Niners why they made a big mistake. So, and K1, man, good for K1. You know, a lot of the fans were, you know, saying he was older and kind of losing a step or two. K1's been nice for Denver. So, I'm sure K1's going to be in his bag Sunday night as well.
Got a tough matchup against the Niners. You got Deebo Samuel, got Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, Ray McLeod. It's going to be fun. It definitely is going to be interesting to see, you know, the Niners go up former teammates. You know, it's going to be one of those things where you're like, oh, man, it's just nostalgia, you know, but that's what it is. There's some injuries on the Niners too that they're dealing with. We got Daniel Brunskill. He's going to be out this week again with the hamstring injury. Ty Davis Price, obviously, we know he's out with an ankle. Tyler Kroft is out with the knee. Questionable is Arik Armstead with a foot, and then Colton McKivitz with an ankle. Obviously, Kittle is cleared to play. But the big news there is Arik Armstead. He hasn't practiced all week, and he's dealing with the foot injury. If he doesn't get to go, they have Kerry Hyder. You got your boy Kamoko Toure, who can probably get slotted in there somewhere. And they also have Kevin Givens, So they got great line depth. It won't be a huge loss if Armstead's not able to go, but it does suck if he's not able to go. What do you think about Arik Armstead potentially missing the game?
Yeah, I think more so than any of that is the question marks that Denver has on the offensive line. They do have injuries as well. A couple guys haven't even suited up. So there's definitely question marks on the offensive line. And honestly, not to jump ahead, but Denver has a lot of question marks around the whole aspect of their team and where they're at. But the offensive line definitely has injuries. We already know the defensive line is stacked. Of course, Arik is the captain. He's a big piece of the puzzle. But I feel like we'd be okay if he had to miss the game. Not really worried about it. Who knows? Maybe he gets on a snap count or something like that.
Maybe. You're right. I think that would be smart for them to kind of limit him because we do have really good defensive line depth, and it's one of those things that helps us. Speaking of the Broncos, you're right. They got a lot of people questionable. Patrick Surtain, Jerry Jeudy, a lot of their players heading into this game. Those are the most, noteworthy. Jerry Jeudy and Patrick Surtain, those two guys questionable. But from what I'm hearing is they're probably going to play. It's
and also KJ Hamler is back as well for them.
Yeah, that's going to be big. They got a good secondary. They have a good defense.
Yeah.
And they have Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton, and if Jerry Jeudy plays, that's going to be tough because we always struggle against the freaking Russell Wilson. And we thought we got rid of him in Seattle. We don't have to deal with them. We got to play him already this year. So, you know what? Hopefully we can beat Russell. We got a dominating defense. Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, these linebackers are so good. I think that we can get that pressure to them. I think the difference here is they don't have – Russell Wilson doesn't have Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, I think, helped Russ develop into who he was. Hackett over there in Denver, he's a hack job. Yeah.
You took the words right out of my mouth. This is where I was going with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett is a first-year head coach. In the first 2 weeks, it definitely looks like the job is too much for Nathaniel Hackett. He's been in positions of coaching. He hasn't been in positions of managing games, such as time of possession, managing game clocks, play clocks, things of that kind of coaching. He doesn't have experience with. We've seen it Monday night when they played Seattle in week 1, kicking a field goal when you have a $200 million quarterback from 64 yards was really questionable. There was a lot of time management questions. You're letting the clock run. Denver is definitely one of those teams that look great on paper, but man, they don't have chemistry right now. Right now they look off. They look rough. And I'm not saying it's going to be like that all season. I mentioned it even with the Niners when we lost to the Bears. Everybody's freaking out. Oh my God, what's going on? We lost to the Bears. But it's like, it's early into the season. You got to give these guys time. It's going to be, look at us last year, 3-5. We go to the NFC Championship. So Denver definitely has the tools, but they have got to put it together. Right now, they look awful. And just one side note, in the first 2 weeks for Denver, they've had 25 penalties. That's the highest 2-week combo for Denver in history of their franchise. So they are definitely struggling on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, 100%. You're right. They look great on paper champions, but you got to play the game. This is why they play the game. And everybody on the offseason, they were hyping them up. But you're right. Chemistry is a key component. You have a rookie head coach, and that you have to learn, as you become a head coach, all the aspects of the game, managing, play calling. There's so much that goes into it. And those penalties have really derailed them. We saw with the Niners what happened week 1, 12. Yep. You're not going to win a game if you give people second chances, you make mistakes, you turn the ball over, and you have all those penalties. And that's what the Denver – they did that against Seattle. They kept them in the game. Seattle won that game. And the same thing with the Niners. We lost week 1 because we made stupid mistakes. Look what happened week 2. We cleaned those penalties up. We only had one penalty. It was kind of a questionable penalty. You got to give DK credit for being an athletic as hell receiver. Manny Mosley gets called for a penalty, but that was literally the only penalty, and they played a mistake-free game. The Niners played so good, and that's how you have to play to win games. It's going to be tough because it is in Denver. It's a road game, and
Yeah.
road games are not easy, no matter who you're playing. So Mile High, the altitude is going to be a little crazy again, Russ. But you're right, the chemistry is not there, and I feel like the Niners are they're picking up some steam now. I think they're going to rally. Unfortunately for them, they lost Trey Lance, but the team really loves Jimmy, and he's coming in with this swagger. We're going to talk about that a little later, like how Jimmy's responded this week during his press conference. Seems a little bit loose. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got nothing to lose. He's playing with house money, man. So you're right. This is going to be it's going to be tough, but I think Denver looks better on paper than what they've performed lately. And you're right. That Seattle game, the fact that you have like you said, a $250 million quarterback, you signed Russell Wilson to this big contract, and you go out there and you kick a 64-yard field goal.
And you had time. You burned time. You had time. You had time and didn't call a timeout. You didn't trust Russell Wilson. You settled for a field goal, missed it, and lost the game. I mean, last week against Houston, before the half, the fans were booing Russ. They're booing Russ already. They were all near. They were in the red zone. Came to fourth down. Third down didn't go so well, and they settled for a field goal, and they were booing like crazy. So, and to be honest, Russ hasn't looked like last year's Russ or the year before that. He's not really out there trying to extending plays. So I feel like the system he's still adapting to.
Yeah.
The coach, he's adapting to the new coach, who's a first-year coach. It's a lot of question marks right now with Denver. But you said it, man. You're going into prime time, Mile High, Denver, on the road. That stadium's going to be rocking. So, but what's good for us is that we have guys that have been there, done that in these type of situations. So, they're not going to go in their ship. This is what we do. So it's good for us.
Yeah, again, we got great veterans. This team that we've been talking about it all year. Squad full of dogs. We have Fred Warner, Bosa, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk. Like these Trent Williams, they're ready. Kyle Juszczyk, they're ready to go out there and just dominate and play. It doesn't matter. They've been to a Super Bowl together, and I think they have that on their mind. They were in the NFC Championship game last game last year. Like this team is very strong. I think they could go out there and beat Denver pretty handedly if they needed to. But I think it's close. You're right. Young coach, they're just not gelling, and they're not using Russell Wilson in the ways that we're known to use Russell. So maybe they're getting adapted in how to use Russ. Because again, you see Russell Wilson, you see him like bootlegging out and
extending plays. He hasn't been doing
that pocket, and you're like, oh my God, it's not Russell Wilson that we know of. And for him to get booed, I was like, damn, this was supposed to be your savior because they've had after bad quarterback, Drew Lock and all these. You can sit here, we can run the gauntlet of all the quarterbacks they've had. They've been pretty bad. And here comes Russell Wilson, supposed to be the savior, and you're fucking booing him in week 2, bro. I was like, oh my
Poor Russ, man. He got booed out of the stadium in Seattle. He got booed, a rain of boos. Lost the game. Week 2 at home debut, and gets booed before the half. Man, it is tough to be Russell Wilson right now. Although he does get to go home to Sierra, so shout out to him.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I guess life isn't too bad. Shout out to my man Rohan. My man Rohan grinding harder than ever, man. This guy, he's now covering Wisconsin football down in SB Nation there. So shout out to my boy.
Rohan's gonna make it big, man. That guy speaks well.
He's good, man. He's such a good content creator, and he covers the team well. He's just so well versed. I love Rohan, man. Yeah. Good dude. Proud he's continuing to do well, and he's just gonna see big things one day. I'm proud of my man. Speaking of the Niners, though, I want to talk about George Kittle more because he's back. He missed 2 weeks. He's an integral part of this offense, not only in the pass catching game, but the running game. His blocking is so critical. And I feel that George Kittle is just going to make everything so much easier for everybody. The D-line or the O-line was looking good last week, and they're only going to get better with George Kittle out there. Mike McGlinchey's going to have somebody helping him out there, and that whole right side's going to be looking better. You got Trent on the other side. Then you can use him as a decoy. You line up that 11 personnel. And then you can throw George Kittle out there on those, crazy routes that he does. Kittle over the middle. And Jimmy Garoppolo and Kittle have a good connection. So that's going to be good for Jimmy that he's got his boy back. I feel like the return of George Kittle, man, it's going to be a big spark plug for this team. What are your expectations for Kittle? Kyle Shanahan said he's pretty much a full go. What do you expect for George Kittle coming out of the gates? First game back of the season.
Yeah, I'm not looking for him. Well, it's difficult because you have Jimmy. I feel like Kittle's nickname, Kittle over the middle, is as much to do with Kittle as it does Jimmy G, right? So Jimmy G sees a lot of the field in the middle. So, I feel like Jimmy G is just as much as the inventor in that as Kittle is. But first game to get in game shape, you're also in Mile High. The altitude could affect Kittle, trying to get back into the swing of things. I'd look for him mostly to be impactful in the run game, right? Like he'll get looks over the middle and things like that in the pass game. But I think we really want to go into this playing smash mouth football. So run the ball, play great defense. Like I said, the altitude is a thing in Denver. So the best way to combat that is to get the run game going, play that smash mouth, then you get your play action rolling and play that defense. We got the number 1 defense in the league. If you don't believe it, stay tuned. But yeah, I think he'll be more involved in the run game than I expect him to be in the pass game. He's going to get his looks, but I really feel like this run game has to be the focus of the game plan going into Denver Sunday night.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. They have to be that physical smash mouth, just beast mode, power attack running team. That's the Niners that we know with Kyle Shanahan is run the ball, run some more, and guess what? We're going to run some more. And then eventually when you think we're going to run, now we're going to do a little play action, pass over the middle, or drop it to Debo and let him do the thing. And you're right. Run game has to be the key. You got Jeff Wilson Jr. And again, with Kittle there, it's just going to open up so many holes. And then who's going to be running back too? That's the big question all week. Is it going to be Marlon Mack? Everybody wants to see Jordan Mason, the undrafted kid. One of those two has to seize their opportunity. I know we're going to see Debo running out of the backfield. It's inevitable. Debo is just going to run the ball. We know it. He's got those incentives. He's going to want to run. Despite what everybody thought this offseason, he's going to run the ball.
He wanted to stay closer to home, and he doesn't want to run the ball. Imagine Debo Samuel don't want the ball. Come on now.
Remember those rebels? I kind of missed the offseason. That was some fucking crazy. It was the most dramatic offseason. But yeah, Debo's going to run the ball, and I think he's going to get a fair share of carries in this game. I think Jeff Wilson right now, he's going to be your default, volume share. He's going to get the bulk of the carries right now. But eventually, I think Kyle will see a guy that's going to emerge and say, okay, we got to give this guy more carries. He plays that hot hand. And again, Marlon Mack and Jordan Mason, they have a prime opportunity. I don't know who's going to step in. It's up to Kyle. It depends on who really stepped up in the preseason or not in practice. So we'll see. Time will tell. But it is going to be interesting to see who takes that running back 2 line. Running the ball is totally.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the faithful need to realize that Marlon Mack wasn't signed on a team for a reason. He's a name. He's rushed for 1,000 yards 3 years ago. But the fan base does have a little tendency to get attached to names. One of those I think too was Leon O'Neal. He's a great kid, but I didn't see him getting a safety spot on the squad in training camp. But Marlon Mack, was on the streets for a reason. It's definitely Jordan Mason's time to see what he can do at the NFL level. Like, it is his time. As much as people want to talk about Marlon Mack, Jordan Mason in the preseason was just bursting through the holes, man. He's earned his opportunity. Undrafted. It's time to get him some carries. I don't know why he hasn't got carries, week 2, maybe week 1 because of the weather. Maybe they don't want him to fumble, put him in that spot. But I feel like Jordan Mason needs to get his opportunity, and I hopefully hope that it's this week.
I agree. I want to see Jordan Mason go out there and cook it up. I mean, maybe last he didn't get the opportunities because TDP may have beat him out in practice. Again, it's the way Kyle gauges things. He looks at your week in practice and kind of feels who's better. And also, TDP was a 3rd-round pick. You got to give him a chance, I feel, before Mason. Although, incredible that Mason made this roster. He had a 1.6% chance. And I think that, as a fan base, like you said, we do get a little bit attached to players. I'm attached to Jordan Mason. I want to see this man go out there and get up, man.
Right, he's earned it, though.
Yeah, man, he earned it. Like, I like Marlon Mack. I'm glad he signed him, a cool veteran.
Yeah.
If Jordan Mason isn't good, then we can have Marlon Mack. So let's see.
Marlon Mack, yeah, exactly.
Give this man a chance, man. I want to see Jordan Mason go out there and cook it up. Kid looks hungry, man. You know what I mean? Like, when you're hungry and you play with a chip on your shoulder, bag of Doritos on that shoulder, you're going to go out there and you're going to make your name known. And I feel like that's the type of player Mason's going to be. So we'll see. You're right. He did it in preseason and training camp. He looked great. So we'll see what happens. But again, Debo will get carries in the backfield. There's another guy we got to mention too. You mentioned safety, Leon O'Neal, but it wasn't going to be hard for him to make this team because they had a guy in Talanoa Hufanga, who we saw him come up so far this whole offseason. I mean, the amount of development he's made in a short amount of time, like his year 2 so far, has been off the charts. Like I haven't seen a guy break out this big, this fast, this quick in a long time. This guy literally looks, I know we always say it, Troy Polamalu. He's trained with them. Honestly looks like in Troy Polamalu out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, we hit it on the head when we drafted him, right? I mean, we spoke about all his tools, it's just really nice to watch it come together. You know what I mean? It's like when you know that this person has the potential, but it comes together, right? Like, especially with draft prospects, we know the tools, but these guys got to go out there and put it together in the NFL. How quickly he's put it together has been incredible to watch. He's just everywhere. Ball hawk, high motor. The guy's just his instinct. That's my biggest detail word for Hufanga is instinct. He's just always around the ball, man. And it's so amazing to watch and just know that he was in that year of development and he's just putting it all together. Now here we are with Hufanga, the second highest rated safety in the NFL, which is crazy.
Crazy, man. It's just he develops so quick, but it's like you said, the instincts are just unbelievable. They're off the charts. You just see him always tracking. He's always around the ball. Like his instincts are crazy. Yesterday I posted this on I think Twitter. I might have posted on my YouTube about D'Amico Ryans. He talked about Talanoa. They asked him a lot of questions, and he said that's what it is. It's just he's so instinctually savvy. He knows where to be around the ball. But he also says his work ethic and just the way he prepares for the week is unlike anybody he's seen. He goes, he's always out there working. When players are in the locker room, he's out there grinding, man. Like that's the type of guy he is. And I saw him this training camp. Same thing. He was always the first one out. Like he gets the extra preparation. Imagine 10 minutes every day extra than everybody else. That's 10-minute more of practice a week, man, or a day in practice. That adds up. So he's preparing harder than anybody. It's been amazing to see him. A 5th-round pick. The Niners and 5th-round picks, man, are just unbelievable. George Kittle, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga. This guy is incredible. Another big-time 5th-round pick. Shout out to Adam Peters. I mean, it's been great to see Hufanga. I hope you can keep this up. It's been amazing. I want to hit this question real quick. Red Eye says, Kyle, why bring Coleman back? Tevin Coleman, they did bring him back this week. He lost running back 1 to Mostert. Coleman is done. His prime years are over. Blau, he came with Shanny with the Falcons in 2017. I get it. He's not what he was. But the problem is the Niners had a crazy injury that happened out of nowhere. TDP had a high ankle sprain. You're not just going to go out there and get the greatest player in the world. You got a cap space. And Tevin Coleman knows the system. So if we do get to the point where Tevin Coleman has to be called up, there's a lot of players that got hurt. Jeff Wilson, Jordan Mason, and Marlon
Elijah Mitchell, TDP, Marlon Mack.
If we get to that point, that's
the 6th running back.
That's the 6th running back. So you don't anticipate play, but if he has to, he knows the system, and you can plug and play him. So it's a smart move. Yeah, he's not a freaking top 5 running back in the league. He's not Dalvin Cook, but at the end of the day, if you get to that point,
he's at least you got a guy who knows the system. Yeah,
he knows the system better than everybody. But, Red Eye says stop the excuses because he knows more than everybody. So it is what it is. People are never happy. Oh, why you signed Tevin Coleman? He knows the system better than any other running back out there. You know what I mean?
You know what, Raj? Your opinion doesn't match mine, and I want you to stop making excuses right now, goddammit.
No opinion of his own. He says David Lombardi's like that no matter what. I'm just telling you my thought of why they would bring in a guy that he knows and play. Kyle Shanahan brings in people that are familiar with the team. It's kind of like, should we bring in a guy that has no clue that we need to train him? Or should we bring in a guy that actually knows what's going on? I kind of wonder. Anyways, enough about that. Moving forward, I want to go into this Jimmy Garoppolo situation. He seems like he's on another mindset. He seems like he's ready to go out there and be free and challenge Kyle Shanahan. Did you hear him in his press conference yesterday? He kind of was like low-key taking a shot at Kyle. And even in the press conference this weekend, he was just like, yo, I want to be free out there. I want to go out and sling it. I'm ready to be like that 2017 Jimmy, where there was freedom with the receivers. It was kind of an interesting clip. I'm going to play it, and then we'll talk about it real quick. I'm going to play the Jimmy clip. This was interesting.
And you were really pushing the ball down the field maybe more than you had in the past couple of years. Is that something that you're consciously would you like to do this year? Is push the ball down the field?
I love that. Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot of things that go with that, obviously, but yeah, I love doing that stuff. In 17, there was a freedom where me, the receivers, tight ends, we had a good chemistry going, and I mean, when you get that with offensive skills and a quarterback, it makes for a tough offense.
Do you feel like you had that freedom last week just because you were coming off the bench, or do you anticipate to have it the rest of the season?
I don't know. I mean, that's a fair question. I think we'll see that as we go forward, but I don't know. The more freedom you have as a quarterback, obviously you play better, you're more confident, and good things will happen.
Whew, a little spicy. He wants to be freedom. He's just like done with Kyle. You know, he's kind of like, look, I've been on this team since 2017. I know the roster. I know the team. I know how the playbook works. You think we're going to get a different Jimmy? You think he's going to come in with a different mindset? You think we are going to see a little bit of 2017 Jimmy? What do you think?
If I could picture and imagine Gucci Garop right now, that would be the start of the Gucci Garop era, because he put everything on the table without saying, like, he said a mouthful in just a couple sentences. 2017, he got in there and they really, didn't have like a full game plan for Jimmy G, right? So he just went out there slinging it. I kind of feel like that's what he did coming off the bench last week. He was in a whole nother game. The game plan was for Trey. So the game plan wasn't really set up for Jimmy. So when Jimmy got in, it was like, all right, go out there, do what you got to do. So Jimmy's just out there slinging it. But even saying that, if it is a game plan for Jimmy, maybe Kyle is holding him back a little bit. But Kyle also did this with Trey. That's why we're still puzzled on why Trey wasn't out there. He wasn't letting Trey out there, rip it. Let him see what he's got. Let him learn to read a defense and things like that. But, if I'm, like, defending anybody, I'm not really defending anybody, but Jimmy G has definitely shown that he can be careless with the football. Turnovers have been a thing with Jimmy G in his tenure in San Fran. I feel like that plays a little bit a part of it, but also too on the other side, Kyle does have like an ego problem, man. It is a thing. Unfortunately, it's a thing. He does not let players play, unfortunately. Like, Kyle tries to cradle guys as much as he can and control every aspect of this team. Jimmy right now is, what do we say? He's in the money year, right? He's on a bag, right? Working for a bag. Yeah. Jimmy right now don't care what Shanahan's going to think or feel, because he's going to be the guy going forward no matter what. This Jimmy Garoppolo and the vocal and how vocal he was in that press conference, I like it. Go out there and hey, listen, man, this hasn't been really all on me. I mean, the interceptions and things, but if I'm not out there feeling confident to where I can just sling it around and free fire like I feel confident and comfortable doing, that's kind of a little bit of a problem. So I don't know if this is the way, the swagger that Jimmy G is going to have this season. I hope it translates to the field and he balls out. Because if he has that kind of mindset and he translates that to the field, 2017 Jimmy G, who knows? Maybe.
You never know. He kind of had that. You're right. He had that swagger like, yo, coach got me held up, man. I want to throw. He says, I want to push the ball down the field. It's not that I'm not allowed. He's like basically saying, I'm not allowed to. And you're right. Kyle kind of likes to control things. He's got a control issue. I mean, he never had an OC until last year. He named Mike McDaniel the OC. And now this year, Mike McDaniel left. Good for him. Got a big head coaching job. He helped him, Kyle helped him get to that spot. And he didn't pick up an OC. I know he got Anthony Lynn, run game coordinator, but he's like, I'm going to go back to being the OC. Wanted to control things. Says he had a young quarterback that was going to be playing this year. And now Jimmy's there. And Jimmy's like, yo, let Jimmy cook. Let Jimmy cook, bro. That's what everybody's saying. Everybody said let Jimmy cook. And if Jimmy, if he dots it up and starts throwing 30, 40-yard passes, everybody's going to be like, okay, dude, what? Maybe he was being held back. So this is kind of an interesting developing story. I was kind of like, damn, okay, Jimmy, you kind of fight. You kind of came in with some heat. I liked it. I liked the swagger, but hopefully it translates into the game day, and stuff like that. But we'll see. I feel like we're still going to get similar Jimmy where, he's going to throw in the middle. That's his get. Like, he's good at that. He's good at that quick release. That's what he excels in. But, hey, if he takes some shots downfield, he did last week. He kind of threw a couple – I mean, they weren't like 60-yard bombs, but he threw a couple 30-yard dimes, man. I was like, okay, there we go, Jimmy. So we'll see. I want to play with Kyle said after today, so Grant actually asked him this question. It was a follow-up to the follow-up. And Kyle was kind of like, well, I don't know what Jimmy means. You got to ask him. He was kind of shook, bro. I'm going to play the video.
Yesterday, Jimmy was talking. He said he felt more freedom on the field on Sunday than he'd felt since 2017. He said freedom's important. It makes him feel confident. I asked him, do you anticipate to have that the rest of the season? He says, it's a good question for you. So I'm asking, what does that mean? Do you know what he means by that? And is that something he's earned more of at this stage in his career?
You'd have to ask him what he meant by that. There was no difference in that game than every game, so you can ask him from that. It was probably just going in when the game plan's for someone else and just coming off and winging it and going with it. That's what I would guess, but sounds like it's a question for him.
I mean, he kind of shook, bro. Kyle's kind of like, well, he's probably like, damn, Jimmy coming out my neck.
Jimmy said what? When he said that? Jimmy G? I know Jimmy, back up Jimmy G ain't say that.
Yeah, he did like that Friday. Chris Tucker, damn.
Yeah, right?
That's good, man. We'll see, man. We'll see if Jimmy can let that sucker rip, man. At the end of the day, we just want to win games. Jimmy's going to go out there, do his thing. But, I mean, if they win, everybody will be happy.
Yeah, one shot. I don't do this often, but Grant Cohn, that was a great question, man. Great question. Great follow-up question to Shanahan today. So great 1-2 punch from Grant. Doesn't happen often for me, but shout out to Grant. And yeah, man, a lot of the fan base I feel like has short-term memory. Like Jimmy G is known for turning the ball over and throwing interceptions. So Kyle has been forced to try and, limit that. But again, you also have to have your quarterback feeling confident and comfortable. So I see both sides. But like I said, good for Jimmy for just airing it out, man. Just get what's off your mind.
Yeah, that is, man. If you know how many people that are kind of not sold on Jimmy returning, if he comes back and he just absolutely has a master class on Sunday, people are gonna be like, okay, Jimmy. He's still got to prove a lot of people wrong himself. Like he's got no lose. Like I said, coming in playing with house money, there's still a lot of people that doubt Jimmy, and at the end of the day, he's going to go out there and prove them wrong if you can play at that level. I mean, I still have my doubts that Jimmy in the playoffs is going to be a high-level type quarterback because we've seen it in the past. But, hey, man, if he goes out there and this goes out there and does the things he has to do to win games and makes those big plays, those clutch plays, it's going to turn a lot of people's heads around. But, I mean, you also realize this defense is probably better than it's been in the Shanahan era. It might be the best defense they've had. It's crazy. And this O-line is better than we all thought coming into the season. This O-line was cooking this week, man. Aaron Banks, Spencer Burford, those two guys, two young bucks. Jake Brendel's been pretty solid, and of course Trent Williams, he's going to be there. Mike McGlinchey's played better than I thought he would, so far. It's still early. Week one, not really, but last week the whole line looked good, man. So shout out to this O-line looking pretty solid. If they continue to block like this, I think it's going to be a solid offense this year.
And again, we haven't even seen Kittle in with these guys. So you get Kittle back, and let's get the ball really rolling in this run game. That's why I just can't wait to see Jordan Mason, because he does have that explosiveness. And if you get him between the tackles and this offensive line and Kittle and Juszczyk are doing their thing, watch out.
I know. That's what I'm saying. With Kittle and Juszczyk and the O-line, it's only going to make everybody better. So, the biggest takeaway today with the return of Kittle is, man, this offense just got scarier because of the fact that run game is going to be better. And you open up that run, you keep pounding that rock, it's going to open up, So it's going to be fun. I think Debo, the biggest thing for me, I was looking at, the roster. I was kind of thinking about this game and everything. And I was like, you know what? I think Debo is going to go off this week because we know what he can do with Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo is the perfect quarterback for Debo because he drops those little short passes and Debo goes and takes a little 5-yard pass into an 80-yard pass. He makes water into wine. That's the type of game that they play with Debo and Jimmy. And I think that Debo's going to have a monster game this weekend. And now Kittle's back. There's going to be more attention on Kittle, a little bit less attention on Debo. I think Debo's going to have a nasty game. And then we talked about this earlier this week. Brandon Ayuk, that's the guy that I was like, I don't know where his head's going to be. But I feel like Jimmy really wants to get the chemistry down with Brandon, and I think we might see a pretty solid game with Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, that's to me. I honestly looking at Ayuk, surprisingly more than I am with Debo. Surtain is the lockdown corner. So, and I'm not saying Debo can't handle it, but Surtain can hold his own out there. So, which gives you a little bit of opportunity with Ayuk. if it's going that way on the other side with Surtain, Ayuk, man, best route runner on the team, I feel like. And how many times have we seen Debo take a slant to the house? That's all it takes in this offense, man, especially if Kittle's out there. Ayuk may be in line for a big game. I just hope mentally the Trey Lance injury, doesn't impact him as much. I know it impacted them. Obviously, they're human beings, but hopefully just go out there, ball out, be what we need, that supportive role to Debo. If Debo, is dealing with Surtain, get him looks. Also, too, man, Ayuk, the sweep game with Ayuk or getting him the ball, running the ball, it's worked several times. I haven't really seen any of that this season yet. I mean, but if you can get that going again, maybe give him some looks that way. Just get him some looks in the run game as well. I mean, why not?
Yeah, I would like to see Brandon Ayuk play that running role too. I think they did a jet sweep to him week 1, and it was pretty effective. And I was like, okay, that's nice. That's a nice little ring. Because you're right, rookie season, Brandon Ayuk was running a lot. He was a wide back, if you really think about it. Getting those jet sweeps, those reverses. He scored a touchdown against the Giants off a running play. Kyle Juszczyk said a nasty block, and he opened it up for him. I think Ayuk can do that stuff. So definitely got to use him in that role, little screen passes. Utilize the strength that you have. Jimmy's a short, intermediate, type quarterback. Use that. You let Ayuk get those actions. So, and I know you're right about Patrick Surtain. Coming in, he's locked on. We know he can kind of bring that man-to-man coverage. He is questionable going into this week, like we mentioned. Yeah. But from what we know, the indications, Pelissero said he's most likely going to play. He's questionable, but he should be able to play. So, it's going to be good to see Debo go up against a big-time corner, because now, everybody wants to say, oh, he's just a gimmick guy. Debo goes out there and routes this man up and gets a slant and go touchdown. Oh, man, it's going to be great to see, because Debo's, like you said, he can take a slant, a quick little 5-yard slant. He can take that 80 yards, man.
Yeah, and I think more than anything of the aspect of the game, right, is I have way more confidence, and I know that Kyle Shanahan can pick his spots against Nathaniel Hackett. If Nathaniel Hackett coaches like what we've seen the past 2 weeks, Kyle Shanahan's going to have a field day. And it's like, it may get ugly, but again, we're on the road in Denver. But I'm looking at that the most out of everything is this coaching matchup. Can Shanahan pick his spots and just really pick apart Nathaniel Hackett? And like you said earlier, the hack job that it has been for him coaching in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, it's definitely he's just not been good. But I like this comment from Nightwolf, who says, who's seen Jimmy's post game? He looks like someone who just won $1 million. Like, yeah, Jimmy's playing again. Money. He gets $350K every time the team wins.
Not only that, there's not even really – I mean, there's pressure with every player, but the pressure isn't what it's been, right? Like this year, okay, you went through the shoulder injury. You were named a backup. Now you're just going out there and playing for bonuses and incentives. Of course he wants to win, but it's like I got to feel like the pressure isn't as much as it's been. So Jimmy's out there, just having a good time, man. He's going to go up to the podium, say what he feels about Shanahan and wanting more freedom in the offense. He's like, fuck it, man. I'm going to go out here and just ball, play my game, get paid, and just enjoy it. I feel like the pressure isn't what it was even last year or the year before that. Especially after we lost the Super Bowl.
I agree. There's not as much pressure because he was the backup, and now he's back to his role as starter. And really, it's kind of like when Jimmy was there before. He never, last year when Jimmy was there, he had to look over his shoulder. Trey was there. Was Kyle going to call Trey up? Now he's not there. Now it's like Jimmy's the quarterback again. It's like back when he had C.J. Beathard and Nick Mullins as his backup. No disrespect to them, but you knew Jimmy was better than those guys, right? Except for the Mullins people that went on the rave. Oh, we got to start Mullins. But it's a whole nother story. Jimmy's better than Brock Purdy. I mean, of course, we like Purdy. I think it was a great story. But Jimmy Garoppolo is better than Brock Purdy. So he's not going to be looking over his shoulder like, he's coming for my job, man. Like, he's not. He's going to go out there. He's now the starter. He gets money if the team wins. He's really got nothing to lose. So you're right. I think he's just going to come out there. It probably does feel like he won $1 million to him, man, because he probably will win a couple million moving into this season. So I want to move into this comment. Anthony Cook says, you got to remember Mooney, Charvarius Ward, Mooney Ward says, he's used to guarding Sutton and Judy. He played in the AFC West. That's a good comment. My man Vlad's coming in. Let's get him in here. What's up, Big Vlad? How we doing?
It's good, boys.
Vodka Vlad on a Friday.
It's
Yeah.
it's whiskey Vlad today.
Oh, whiskey Vlad on a Friday.
Nice. What kind of
We
whiskey?
got the residency on.
So, yeah. I've been getting into Japanese whiskey. I like Suntory a lot, and there's I forgot the name. I can go look it up. Akari, I think. Akari. They do a really nice plum whiskey, but I just have their original regular. It's nice. It's
This
nice.
guy is classy and high, man. Look at this. He's got a plum whiskey on a Friday night.
plum
You know,
whiskey.
life's great for Vladdy boy.
Yeah, that's good, man. Good to hear. Good stuff. Plum whiskey on Friday night. Welcome to
nice.
the show. Eric O says Vlad is an odd dude. Vlad's a
It's
classic.
true. It's true.
It's true.
What's up, man? How you feeling about this game? We've been chopping it up,
Dude,
talking Sunday's game, Sunday night football. How you feeling, man? Where'd your head at?
we're gonna crush them.
Ooh.
Like I get it. I don't want to like pump. I get it. I get it. But I really believe like this team is, bro. I've been saying it for like 2-3 years now. This is the most talented roster in the NFL, top to bottom. I'll put it up against any roster in the NFL. I think, and I'm hoping we all see it, right? I think we all see it with these interviews. I think we all see it with the hate that you see on Twitter and Instagram. I'm hoping we'll see. It's still Kyle Shanahan's team, right? At the end of the day, it's still Kyle Shanahan's team. He runs the product on the field, period, end of story. But I'm hoping that with everything we see, he makes the change, opens this offense up a little bit, and says, screw it. What do you got to lose, Kyle? They're not going to fire you, bro. They're not. So just open it up. Like your quarterback's going on interviews saying that he wants to make it back like it's 2017.
Mhm.
You lost your franchise, right? You messed them up. That's all gone right out the window. 12 rushes a game. You whatever you want to call it. You want to point fingers. I'm gonna still say it's Kyle's fault, regardless, because you know as a coach tendencies of a player. You know what they're gonna do. You call plays. You hope those plays are gonna be successful. The worst case scenario happened. We better hope as fans that Jimmy G holds his team together and Trey comes back next year 100%. Because I'm gonna guess that it's gonna be harder for Trey next year than it would have been for him this year. Right? I'm gonna bet it's harder, right? So like we better hope that he comes back 100% totally. Because if there's something wrong up here, if he's questioning things, bro, we don't know. So right now we have to look at it like, and I hope the front office sees it, and I really hope Kyle Shanahan sees it, where you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but you know this team. You know what Jimmy can do. If you're going to stand there and say Jimmy's one of the best throwers on the planet, right, which is what he said in an interview.
Yeah, he
You're going
did.
to say that. Then you better let the boy throw. Open up the offense. If they fail, if they fall flat on their face and Jimmy looks like dog shit and he's throwing picks left and right, hey, we get it. It is what it is. But you can't. You got to let it happen.
Yeah, I feel like they should open the game off, letting it rip. Manage it from there. Let them take control, not control, but you know what I mean. Just let them fire, man. Let them open it up. Let them fire. If interceptions happen, all right, well, there you go, Jimmy G. There was your opportunity. Now we're gonna scale it back a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I'm with that. Let them open up the offense. Jimmy G get going.
I'll say one more thing. Like, I would rather see, and this is the same thing I wanted to see from Trey. Like, stop this like control of offense. I would rather see Jimmy make the mistake than Jimmy make Kyle's mistake. Then Trey make Kyle's mistake. Kyle, you had your chance. You had your chance, bro. Like, you have to let these guys make their mistake because you've already made. I hope he sees this. I hope somebody that knows him sees this. You already made your mistakes, Kyle. You got to let them make theirs. If they mess up, then all right, you get it. We get it. Back to the drawing board. But we've already seen you mess up, dog. 7 years.
I mean, I know we're going to come out running a lot because that's how.
Run.
And obviously the run game opens up the passing game, makes it, easier to manage. But I do, when they get to those moments, right, when they get to those moments where they're going to pass the ball, I want them to be able to let him just have that freedom to, if he wants to toss that 50 yards or whatever he's got to do, or we saw in 2017, we saw a different Jimmy. He was running out the pocket. He was moving. He was kind of a little bit more mobile. And I saw him throw some sidearm action on a run play, like on a scramble play. I've seen that. You've seen the Jaguars game? I think he was running touchdown to Trent Taylor. I mean, it was an absolute beautiful play. And I was like, whoa, this guy, Jimmy Garoppolo, got some moves, right? Like, I want to see a little bit of that. I want to see that. I want to let Jimmy cook. You're right. They've got nothing to lose. And if Jimmy goes out there and he airs it out and he has a horrible game, then we know.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, again, it brings it back to Kyle's ego. He he has an ego problem, unfortunately. I don't know. I agree with that, though. Come out, let him rip. Obviously, establish the run, play defense. That's what you want to do in the Mile High. But I don't know, man. I don't think Kyle can get out of his own way. That's my opinion.
I don't know. So
That's
Vlad,
the fear.
Vlad came in hot. He says we're going to whoop them.
I think we did. I think we are. Like, I'm just hoping, like, this is really what it is, right? I'm hoping that year 8 Kyle Shanahan is better than year 1 homeboy and what's his name, Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
Like, there, if year 8 Kyle Shanahan can't beat year 1 Nathaniel Hackett, call Sean Payton now. Call him now. Get it ready now.
Bears have a rookie head coach, and that was kind of concerning because there was 12 penalties. But
it was rain. It was you like Kyle starts, bro. 2020, we just went to the Super Bowl in 2019. We lose in the Super Bowl. That's to this day, pound for pound, the worst game I've ever seen in my life. 2020 against the Cardinals, Week 1. That was atrocious.
Now, under Kyle Shanahan, always start off
slow.
Always play so bad in the openers. I don't know what it is. Like, it's maybe they need an extra week to prepare, but every time they open up, it's just not pretty, man. It's last year we beat Detroit, but we almost let them come back. Remember the Lions? They almost
Dude, their Lions look good though. I'm not gonna lie.
I like them. They look good. They're a good young team. We said it. Me and Smitty said they're a good team on the rise. Good young team, competitive. I don't know if they're going to win a lot, but they're going to be competitive.
They're going to keep it in the games.
Yeah. I like the mentality of their coach. 100%.
Yeah, their coaching staff. They got Randall L. They got a bunch of former players, bro. Like, those guys are like raw.
Yeah,
those guys are good.
Like,
and you see Sun God.
Yeah, they look good, man.
Aiden
Hutchinson. He's so good, man. He's good. They got good. Amon Ross.
Sun God.
Yeah.
Amon Ross St. Brown. The Sun God.
That guy is.
Don't forget Swift. Swift out there looking shifty.
Yeah, I got those guys on my family. They're carrying me. Moving into this game, we've talked a lot about Jimmy. We talked a lot about, certain players. We haven't really talked about Nick Bosa. What do you think? Nick Bosa's having a hell of a season already. He's got 3 sacks. We said it earlier here that he looks like he could be a defensive player of the year. This is the type of game he has to dominate because it's Sunday night football, prime time. All eyes are going to be on the Niners and Nick Bosa. This is a game where he has to go out there and just have a masterclass game because when you have the eyes on you, when it's a primetime game and you're a star player, you need to perform like that. And I think these are the games that'll win him those trophies down the line, defensive player of the year, all-pro. Every year, this offseason we got mad because he was underrated. He didn't get an all-pro, all that stuff. He has to be able to put it out there in prime time and, just dominate. And I think if he does on Sunday, that's going to be a very big step in him maybe getting accolades down in the offseason. That's what the players need to do. The media looks for these games like, oh, man, remember Sunday Night Football? He had 2 sacks, 3 sacks. Like, they don't remember all these, these games in the middle of the day. They remember the big prime time moments. So hopefully Nick Bosa comes out and just crushes Russell Wilson.
Yeah, like I said, the offensive line is hurting as well. So there's definitely room for Bosa's gonna Bosa. I mean, I said it last time. Bosa's gonna Bosa. Like you don't have no concern about Bosa, especially on prime time. And like I said, the offensive line is beat up. So I'm sure he can take advantage of that.
The only concern is Arik Armstead might not play.
Yeah.
That's
But
the big. Yeah.
But
You're
they're
hoping
not
he's.
good depth at D line. They got Kevin Gibbs like him. Kerry Hyder could play inside outside.
And Kinlaw's been looking good.
Yeah.
So he has he's been looking solid.
Vlad, Kinlaw, and Aaron Banks looking good, huh?
Well, Kinlaw.
Same week. Vlad.
So first, it is the Seahawks and it is the Bears. So we do have to pump our brakes.
Okay, there you go.
Pump the brakes a little bit. All right.
But
I'll take it.
But on the serious, like I still have I still think what I think on Kinlaw, but I do believe he's got a couple of great seasons in him. I'm hoping this is one of them. You know what I mean? I'm like, whatever. We don't need to get into it if you want to, whatever. Buckner is going to be in the NFL for like 20 years, and he's going to play like 16 to 17 games every single one of those years. So like that's the type of guy that I'd like to have on my team. But like Kinlaw, I think he's a very special talent. I think he's got all the skills. I just don't think you're going to see a 20-year career. I don't think you're going to see a 15-year career. I don't think you're going to see a 10-year career. I think you're going to see a handful of supreme seasons. I'm hoping this is one of them because this defense, we only rush 4, right? D'Amico Ryans doesn't like to blitz a lot. So if that's the case, you got to have the interior defensive lineman bringing pressure. And I think, like, here's the thing. You saw last week, it's Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson had very similar weeks. They couldn't plant their feet. They were throwing these lobs. They were throwing these weird, awkward stuff. If that's going to be the case, bro, they're going to feast. And with TJ Watt injured for the amount of time he's injured, in my opinion, all the boy has to do is start 17 games, and Nick Bosa is going to get that Defensive Player of the Year.
I agree. That's huge for him. If he just goes out there and gets a sack a week, he's going to probably top front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. But again, these primetime games is when he has to have his best games because the media, like, it gets a little skewed. You know, it's recency bias. Oh man, he dominated on Sunday Night Football. They don't care if he could have had like 3 sacks in a game, you know, in a Sunday afternoon game. Like, yeah, that would be great. But when you go on a primetime game, man, everybody's tweeting you, everybody's posting you. Oh, Bosa. So this is a big game where he can stamp it and just say, hey, look, give me that Defensive Player of the Year award. So yeah, I'm excited for him. I think he's gonna have a monster game tomorrow. I think Russell Wilson's gonna be running for his life. He's looking for Sierra. It's gonna be great. I want to get to this question from Drew. Man, shout out to Drew. This man's always in the lives. He's always in the Instagram. Like, he's been a loyal follower. I know he is. Shout out to my man Drew. Says, can we talk about Gibson's role once Jimmy Ward gets healthy? Like, this is actually a big thing because Gibson's played good, man. I think someone today, CMAC, asked you. I saw on your stories. They said, what happens to Gibson when Ward comes back? Do they cut Gibson? I don't know. It's kind of a good problem to have. He's played good. Yeah.
I don't know, right? Because Odom was signed for his kick returns, for kick specialist, right? Kickoff specialist. That's what he's known for in the league. That's what he's making his money on. So that role that he has is valuable. So do you keep a guy who's going to be a backup, who's been playing great? No slight to Gibson at all, man. Like, you're coming off practice squad and playing pretty well. No slight. But it's like, do you keep, the backup role for Gibson on the squad, or do you let go of your gunner? You know what I'm saying? It's a tough spot to be in. I'm glad I don't have to make the decision.
Do you got any insight? I'll answer it.
I mean, here's my question for you on that one. Who do you like more, Gibson, or do you like Lenore, Ambry Thomas?
Well, I think those guys corners.
I'm sticking with the corners, yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I know, but it's all DBs. And if you're gonna have to make a move, I think I would rather keep Gibson on the roster than a guy like Lenore or Ambry Thomas. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can move him to practice. I just look at Gibson like, dude, that guy's a ball hawk, and he plays really well in the slot. You know what I mean? You want those types of guys on your team. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just don't look at Gibson like a starter the same way I don't look at Lenore as a starter, the same way I don't look at Ambry Thomas right now as a starter. So if like none of those guys are really in the starting rotation, which one of them would you rather have on your team?
That's true.
I mean, Gibson.
It's a tough one because he's a good veteran, and I knew he'd come in, and if he made the roster, he was going to at least be serviceable because, you know, you're replacing a guy like Jimmy Ward. You need a guy that could come in and actually play at a high level. He's been a starter. He's been a Pro Bowler. Like, Gibson's a good depth guy. And Jimmy Ward comes back. That's his role. He's the leader. So it is hard because after that, Gibson's just going to be taking up space on a roster because Odom will actually give you special teams value. And you're right, CMAC. Like, it's hard to get rid of Odom for Gibson because Gibson's not going to play that special teams role. So you have to keep Odom. And then there's Tarvaris Moore, who also is a pretty good special teamer. So it's just Gibson's a little limited in his ability after Jimmy Ward comes back in 2 weeks. So you may have to cut him because I see what you're saying with Lenore and Ambry, but I like those two younger guys. You don't want to hurt their confidence. You don't want to like, hey, yeah, Ambry Thomas will cut you. And last year he was a nice little, you know, depth piece for them. And you never know. I don't want to wish injuries on anybody, but if anybody gets hurt, you don't want to be like, oh, man, now we're scraping the barrel for a cornerback, you know. Because I think a guy like Ambry and Lenore would get picked up if they got cut from this roster. So you may have to cut them or you may have to look at another roster spot to get rid of. I don't know. It's going to be tough. But you also need to realize in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there could be another injury that could open the door to keep them. So it's tough to say. That is a good question, Drew. It's hard to kind of predict a little in a couple weeks, but it is a good problem to have that we have that much talent on this team. So
we do have a lot of talent. That is the nice thing about, like, bro, when you have guys like Adam Peters, the scouting department, and let's be honest. As much as I do hate on them, the last 2 second-round picks, I'm assuming it was made by John Lynch, but Drake looks fantastic. And Banks stepped into his role really nicely.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
Maybe learn a little bit from Adam Peters.
Aaron Banks looks good. Is there a big crow that I can give you? Because you got to eat that bad boy.
I'll eat it, dude. We'll see. This week is gonna be a good test because you know why? Because he's gonna be going up against DJ Jones.
Yeah. It will. And Chubb.
And he knows this. Yeah, and Chubb. And they know this. They know. I'm just gonna assume that DJ Jones knows this offensive line pretty good.
DJ Jones probably gave him every secret in the. But yo, man, I'm a little nervous, man, because DJ Jones probably gave him like every little, study tip you can have, man. I mean, obviously,
all the nuances.
I'm sure that D'Amico's got a lot of other plays in his playbook. He's gonna mix it up, but man, DJ Jones. He's coming for blood, man. He did say he wants to play and make his name known. No love lie. He says there's no bad blood, but he wants to go out there and show, when you play your former team, it means something.
Why'd you get me out?
Yeah.
K'Wan Williams, too. He's going to play. I want to see let's see what Debo does to King.
Oh, Shark, bro. I didn't even forgot.
Don't forget about the Shark now.
Damn, he's over there, too.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good game.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good game. We're going to smash them still. 7
Score
points.
predictions?
Score prediction. Everybody in the comments, I want you to drop a score prediction. And after the video, if you guys want, go into the video and just drop your score predictions. Usually, I want to, if anybody gets the actual score right, shout you out on one of the next lives, man. Drop your score predictions. CMAC, what's your score prediction?
I said 27-20. It could be more because, like we just talked about to open the whole preview, was Nathaniel Hackett and the horrible decisions that he's making with the game clock management. Like I said, he's been a coach, for plays and things like that, but managing a game, the sequences of games, he has no experience, and it just looks like right now the job is way above his head, and he's just at a loss. And it's unfortunate for Denver because you have all the recipe for success on your roster. And it's just, I mean, like I said, the penalties, 25 penalties in 2 weeks, franchise record. I think the Niners can go in there. Shanahan can, pick his spots, outcoach, and get the win. I said 27-20. I feel like it'd be more if we were at home, but we are in Mile High, so I'll give him a touchdown.
Okay. Vlad, what's your score prediction?
I think like something like 24-14, 21-14, something like that. I think Russ is still figuring it out over there.
Yeah.
I think you realize when things like this happen, you realize how important coaches are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you realize how a guy like Pete Carroll, for all the stuff he gets from Niners fans, that guy's one of the best coaches in the league.
Yeah,
That guy's so smart, and look how he plays up. You know what I'm saying?
I hate this. Yeah, Pete's a good coach, man. Oh,
He is, man. He knows football. So, like, when you have a dude like that, and you go from him to a rookie coach who's scared, he coaches scared. He coaches to not lose instead of coaching to win. If Kyle Shanahan year 8 can't beat it, get Sean Payton on the phone.
I think that the Niners are gonna bully the Broncos. This defense is going to prove they are, without a shadow of a doubt, just this wrecking crew. This just nasty defense. You have Fred Warner, Azeez Al-Shahir, Dre Greenlaw. You see that picture from the other game? Like, just those three guys.
Just yoked with the sun coming down.
That's like an image that I'm like, oh my god, this defense is so good. That's your linebacking crew. I would not want to even play, dude. And then you got Bosa, and then you got the Carvarius Ward, Mosey. Like, this secondary is so good. And then the rise of Hufanga. Like, I think this defense is going to get 2 turnovers.
And Womack, not to cut you off, but
Womack, the nickel corner, like, this defense in all aspects, all 3 levels, is just so good. So I think this defense is going to make it tough on Russ and the Broncos. It is Sunday night. They are going to get a little home cooking. Jimmy's quarterback. He'll throw a pick, but I think Jimmy will be efficient. I think he's going to have that gunslinger mentality. No hate on him.
Yeah.
He wants to go out and rip. I think Jimmy's going to have like 2 touchdowns. He's going to have a pretty efficient game. He'll throw a pick because Denver has a good defense, man. They're going to have Bradley Chubb running down his neck. I think that it's going to be a 24 to, I don't want to say 17 seems a lot after gassing up that defense. 24 to 13.
I was to say 13,
yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, Niners.
I think just one more thing. I think Kyle will use Gould, will be more likely to use Robbie Gould because the altitude in Denver, Mile High, it's Mile High for a reason, dude. I've been there. It's tough it's not easy to breathe. It's like you get up there, you're like, oh shit, all right, this is
up there, man.
This is really a mile high. This is
They were lying.
This altitude is crazy. I've been to Colorado many times. I've been to some places to go skiing, like Breckenridge.
Mhm.
I went to Coors Field baseball game. Man, that altitude, and I got a heart problem. I thought I was gonna die up there. I was like, oh my god, this is just that.
That air gets thin.
Yeah, you can't breathe. So I can imagine playing a football game in the Mile High Stadium. That's tough. Tough.
So I think it's like on average, there's like 20% oxygen in the air, if I'm not mistaken, on average. I think it goes down to like 17 or 15%. It's very
and they got
thin
dispensaries
air
everywhere. You could really be a mile high in a mile high. So you could really go up there and burn it down.
And there's a whole they got a whole slew of things that they decriminalized. That place is
it's a great place. So.
And just to touch on the defense, man, like, just think about it. Soon, Jimmy Ward and Verrett are coming back. You know what I mean? Like, soon. And I don't expect Verrett to be like, 2020 Verrett off the bat or anything like that. But just to know that kind of talent is still there waiting is insane. How well the defense is already playing.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Defense.
If he can come back at a starting level, like if Jason Verrett can like come back and like start and like go and like do his thing against like 1s and 2s.
It's going to be tough because E-Man and Charvarius Ward are monsters right now. And you got Womack and the Nichols. So it's going to be tough, man. The roster is so deep.
It's crazy, dude. I feel like this team's about to go off. Again, I feel Jimmy's gonna go out there. He's playing with house money. I think Jimmy's gonna have a good game, man. He's gonna let it rip. He's gonna cook. I think he's gonna throw 2 touchdowns. I feel Kittle's gonna get a touchdown in his return game. He's gonna open up that run game. I feel that Debo's gonna get a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Those are my big predictions of the game. But I feel about 24-13. Niners defense is gonna be too much. Nick Bosa, prime time, 2 sacks. He's just gonna go crazy, dude. I feel like Russell Wilson's gonna be in shambles after Sunday. So.
If he gets booed during the game, it will be the greatest achievement that we can have during the game.
Guys, we posted that Russell Wilson getting booed on primetime against the 49ers. Oh, my God, at home. Can you? That's got to
make a meme out of it somehow.
We got to make – I have to see Russell Wilson getting booed at home on a primetime game against the Niners. I would just – oh, my God. That would make my month. I will tell you that.
I got him in one of my fantasy leagues, and I'm like, bro, I gotta get him.
Let it go, man. Put him on the bench.
Maybe not this week.
I'm definitely not starting him this week. All
right, guys, I gotta go though. I gotta jump.
No doubt. Hey,
I appreciate it.
Tapping in this week, man. I love you. Have a good rest of your weekend, man. Let's go, baby.
All right, fellas, appreciate it. Faithful, man, we got prime time. We're talking prime time in Denver. Let's go, baby. Y'all enjoy your night. Sunday night is lit. Let's go.
Let's go, man. Vlad, any last comments, concerns to get to? How you feeling here?
I think we just got to go out there and do what we do best. I think that team knows what they have to do. Kyle knows what's going on. Execute. Everyone goes home happy.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think when is it's LA next week, and then when is the Cardinals in Mexico City? I gotta look at
that. It's in a couple weeks. It's not until I can't remember the exact. But next week is the Rams Monday Night Football against the Rams. So that's gonna be you know what though? It's not gonna be easy because they may be looking ahead. You can't look ahead. I think Andy Diaz says November 21st. So we got a little time.
November 21st. So we got some time.
We
actually got a road. That's after the bye week. We got a road, bro.
We got a while. We got big games up. We got the Chiefs coming up. We got the Chargers coming up. There's some tough games, man. We got to win these games. This is a winnable game. We can get it done.
I think we're gonna. Denver, whatever. I know they have a lot of talent, but Houston made them look messed up.
Yeah.
We have a way better defense than Houston. There's no excuses. We got come on.
Yeah.
D'Amico Ryans is going to have these guys tuned up. Have a good night, guys.
Oh, hey, appreciate you, Vlad. Have a good rest of your night. Get this dub on Sunday. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate Vlad. Appreciate CMAC hopping in the chat tonight. Appreciate the chat tonight. For the most part, you guys were pretty good. I had to kick somebody out, Red Eye. Unfortunate, but trying to build a strong community, trying to build a community where everybody can share their thoughts and opinions, but you don't need to be negative, man, and then calling people out. So unfortunately, I had to kick him out of the chat. But hey, I love you guys. Appreciate the support. Let's keep it positive. Let's get a good season coming. Let's get a win on Sunday night. And let's go Niners, baby. Have a good rest of your night. Hit that like button, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your enemies. We coming live all the time. And let's get this dub on Sunday, man. I appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your night. I'm starving. Let's go get some food.